You and your husband, Triple H, have been really running this company into the ground.
What if Shane McMahon took over WWE? It's a question that's been posed a countless number of times over the course of the past few years, especially by you, the real ones that subscribe to this channel. What would World Wrestling Entertainment look like if Vince McMahon either stepped away, or heaven forbid, we hope not, passed away, and passed on ownership of his company WWE to his son Shane? What would the product look like? What would the product sound like? What would the product feel like? Who would be the superstars pushed? How would Shane go about pushing people? All of these questions follow suit from the initial what if Shane McMahon took over WWE question. In this video, I'll be answering these questions to the best of my ability. Okay, approximately half of this video will be the administrative business side of things, which you'll see what I mean in a moment, and the other half will be an example of a Raw and a SmackDown episode that you would see in Shane McMahon's WWE. So, let's get in this. For starters, Shane McMahon makes it his top priority to address the creative writing of the product. For years now, WWE have been outwardly growing their creative writing team to the point where it now consists of 30 to 40 different writers. Shane believes in the whole too many cooks in the kitchen mantra. Accordingly, Shane McMahon puts upwards of 35 different creative writers out of a job. Okay, Shane strips it right back. Shane does not want more than a handful of people controlling Raw and SmackDown respectively. Now, when it comes to who is in charge creatively, Shane McMahon appoints creative stalwart Ryan Ward along with Wyndham Rotunda, better known as Bray Wyatt, to be the lead writers for Monday Night Raw. Once the script for either show is done, it's run through Shane, okay? Shane may make a final tweak or two or change some ideas, but that's really about it. Basically, this is what happened in the Attitude Era when Vince McMahon did a few final tweaks to the script that was written by Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara. Okay, the thinking behind Ryan Ward and Wyndham Rotunda for Raw is that by pairing a creative writer with proven success under his belt, Ryan Ward, 2016 SmackDown lead writer, and a creative mastermind like Wyndham Rotunda, magic is possible. That sounds like the recipe for a must-see show. Okay, the creative direction for Raw is to book the shows like it's the Attitude Era, with the emphasis being placed upon over-the-top entertainment, big talking point angles, attractive women being allowed to present themselves as such, and matches as a result being one segment long at maximum. No 35-minute matches on Raw for the sake of it, okay? This is a different direction. Now, before I get to the SmackDown writers, I've got to address a matter of business which I know is going to come up in the comments. I know you guys are wondering about. Raw Underground, okay? Does Raw Underground make a return? Does it not? Okay. Raw Underground, as it was, does not make a return. That said, the general vibe of Raw Underground, that gritty, edgy feeling that it had, I'm going to put that throughout Monday Night Raw. It really changed the feeling of Monday Night Raw. Give that gritty, edgy Raw Underground feel because, my God, Raw especially feels so just overproduced, so hard to watch nowadays. I'm giving some Raw Underground feel, but Raw Underground as we know it, that is not coming back by any means. So, that being said, now we move over to SmackDown, okay? Shane McMahon appoints Paul Heyman and Adam Copeland, aka Edge, to write for the Blue brand. Over on SmackDown, the pairing of Paul Heyman and Adam Copeland allows for Heyman to take control of the ship and use his wealth of knowledge, along with Adam Copeland's understanding of what should be done to get the next generations of stars over. This combination allows SmackDown to be booked similar to how it is now. SmackDown doesn't really change a whole hell of a lot. I'll be honest, it's just a few little tweaks here and there. So that's SmackDown. Okay, just generally with the writing, I'll wrap up the creative writing now. The focus shifts away from Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's great match agenda obsession. The creative direction shifts away from Bruce Pritchard's outright goofiness and whatever you describe Vince McMahon's creative style in the past decade. It shifts away from that to much more edgy, much more finger on the pulse, much more making stars and all that kind of stuff oriented, creative product. So that's what we get there. Then, with the creative sorted, now let's address another elephant in the room, the shows themselves. Shane McMahon believes in quality over quantity. He thinks the idea of doing a 3-hour weekly Raw show is ludicrous, okay? Shane McMahon disregards the advice from financial stakeholders and proceeds to move Raw back from 3 hours down to 2. Okay, the rationale for this one being that the third hour has single-handedly been a big factor in killing Raw over the past decade. So Shane feels it's better to get rid of the third hour, bring it back to 2, make a show much more must-see, and just good all round. So Shane does that. Then, Shane McMahon also makes a priority to overhaul the sound of the show, okay? Shane McMahon gives Raw a retro, cool feel. One such change is Shane making the Raw theme song across the nation once again. It's a refreshing change from the tedium and blandness of The Search by NF, as though that was ever a good song for Raw. Anyway, Shane McMahon believes in entertainment, variety, and having fun. Now, next up is the talent, okay? This one is crucial when it comes to building any wrestling company. What talent is signed? Who signs them? Who looks out for talent? Who's the talent scout, okay? It's a foundational block in building any successful promotion. With that said, Shane McMahon assigns the role of head talent scout to Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker. Calloway knows what it takes for a wrestler to make it, what it takes a wrestler to get over. And no, the answer to that is not crisp execution of moves. It's character, it's charisma, it's entertainment value, it's being able to get yourself over. So Undertaker becomes the lead head talent scout for WWE. Okay, as far as commentators go now, Shane McMahon feels the need to make some changes to the announce teams. On Monday Night Raw, we get Tom Phillips as the lead play-by-play guy, alongside John Bradshaw Layfield and Booker T. Meanwhile, over on SmackDown, we get the team of Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Now, for the next items of business, Shane McMahon feels as though it's criminal that Jim Johnston is out of a job. Shane rehires Jim Johnston and puts him in charge of creating new wrestler theme songs. This is a crucial part of giving wrestlers an identity, a recognizability. It's something that's lacking so much in modern wrestling. Hardly any wrestlers have theme songs that are genuinely recognizable and genuinely good. So Shane, he's aware of this. He rehires Jim Johnston, puts Jim Johnston in charge of writing theme songs for wrestlers. Life's all good. So that happens there. Another change is Shane McMahon. He addresses the women's agenda. Now, Shane McMahon is fully cognizant that not every woman needs to be presented as a believable in-ring technician who can do everything the men can do, because that's straight up unrealistic, tired, forced, and lame. Yet, at the same time, with that being said, not every woman should be presented as eye candy, especially considering the wokeness that thrives in modern day society. Shane McMahon believes in a healthy balance of both. The quote-unquote, objectively speaking, the quote-unquote eye candy women of sorts, Eva Marie, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Liv Morgan, etc., they are exclusive to Monday Night Raw, and accordingly, they draw unreal ratings. They're all involved in meaningful storylines and roles on the show. This is because Shane McMahon understands the importance of getting the best out of what you have. So, when you have these stunning, attractive women, it's best to use them in a way that actually makes non-wrestling fans want to tune in and see what's going to happen with them. So, that's that. The rest of the women's wrestlers are on the blue brand, or at least the best of the best are. One of Shane McMahon's decisions is making the all-women's weekly show on Peacock. This is the Peacock exclusive and airs on Thursdays. It's 1 hour long and allows for empowered women to put on great matches. Okay, the general manager of this all-women's show is Stephanie McMahon. She gets to push all of her agendas on this all-women's Peacock show. Life is good for Stephanie McMahon. And WWE gets to promote their wokeness and their PC agenda publicly as having an all-women's wrestling show. This show allows for some great match fests between people like Natalya, Ruby Riott, etc. Okay, meanwhile, the rest of the women, okay, these women, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. These 8 women are established as the big female stars on SmackDown, okay? These women are SmackDown exclusive. They're built as empowered. They can go like the men. They can put on great matches. They can inspire that next generation of young girls to be in-ring technicians. That's what those women are there for. Those women are about empowerment on the boy brand. So that's the women's wrestling side of things addressed. Then the next item of business is tag teams, okay? Shane McMahon makes the clear, obvious decision and puts all tag teams onto one show. That show being Raw. Shane makes it a priority to give each tag team an identity and put stock into them. These tag teams are the Street Profits, the Hurt Business, the New Day, AJ Styles and Omos, the Mysterios, the PC Brigade, Mustafa Ali and Sami Zayn, and The Miz and John Morrison, okay? The tag team division becomes a focal point for Monday Night Raw, as every team has a recognizable gimmick and character. So, with that all said, here's how I'm going to do this. Instead of a year-long WWE takeover, where I only really address like the main event scene and like one women's storyline, as was the case in the Triple H takeover video from last August, for this one, I'm going to step into a time machine and take you to August of 2021. Okay, we are ramping up the build to SummerSlam, and we have a blockbuster card of matches, including Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. We've got John Cena taking on Drew McIntyre in a singles match. We've got Edge taking on Seth Rollins one-on-one. We've got Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Jeff Hardy. We've got Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso in an I Quit match, and much, much more. So, with that considered, I bring to you now Shane McMahon's Monday Night Raw. So, right from the jump, we're hyped up by Booker T and JBL about the blockbuster weigh-in tonight between Lashley and Brock Lesnar. We see footage of Lashley storming into the arena earlier in the day, and we're told that when Brock Lesnar arrives, we'll see live footage of it. From here, we're told what to expect on tonight's show. This episode of Raw includes John Cena's shoot on Drew McIntyre, a bikini contest between Eva Marie and Mandy Rose, an exclusive leaked tape from Jackson Riker, and a first time ever match between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Okay, that's what we've got to expect on tonight's episode of Raw alongside the weigh-in. Then, the camera cuts to Angel Garza. Garza is desperately simping outside of Mandy Rose's locker room. Garza's desperate for a sneak preview of what Mandy Rose is wearing. Then, arena security catch wind of this and proceed to just, evict Angel Garza from the premises. He's being a creep, he's being just a simp. They kick him off and kick him out of the arena. A bit of a funny opening segment to kick off the show. So, after all this, we get our first match of the night, okay? The Mysterios come out for a match against The Miz and John Morrison. Miz and Morrison come out wearing Mysterio masks. We've got The Miz and John Morrison mocking the Mysterios as we go to commercial. After the first commercial, we get a good 7 to 8 minute tag match between these two teams. In the end, Rey Mysterio pins The Miz to wrap up the match. So, after that, we go to commercial with cameras all set up for Brock Lesnar's arrival to the arena. Okay, it's this big hyped up scene. Brock's arriving after the break. Stay tuned through the commercial, Brock Lesnar's arriving. So, Brock's arrival's hyped up. After the break, we see a backstage segment with Elias. Elias is our reigning United States champion, okay? Elias defeated Sheamus a few weeks prior to win the US title. Elias, he's sitting there looking at his championship longingly. He starts talking. He expresses how, even though he's proud of being champion, something just doesn't sit right. Okay, Damian Priest gets infinitely more attention and is way more popular than Elias is. Even though Elias has the championship belt, Damian Priest doesn't even need to try to be cool, and that gets to Elias. Like, Elias takes that personally. So, we have Elias doing this segment backstage, then the camera cuts drastically to the parking lot, okay? A tractor pulls up to the arena, and instead of it being Brock Lesnar, it's R-Truth driving the tractor. From here we get a goofy 24/7 title skit with Ricochet chasing R-Truth through the car park. R-Truth is hiding behind a tractor. Typical 24/7 title stuff, just teasing Brock's going to be there, he's not. So, after this, we go to another match. This time, it's Sheamus versus Dominic Teabag Dijakovic. We go to a commercial. After the break, we get Sheamus squashing Teabag in less than a minute. Sheamus, he's pissed off after losing his US title to Elias and is determined to beat everyone and anyone in his path on his way back to the title. Then, the camera cuts backstage and we see Corey Graves. Corey Graves walks up to Jinder Mahal's locker room door, okay? Graves visibly takes a gulp and a deep breath. He's very nervous. He enters the locker room of the Monday Maharaja. Graves says, "Jinder, I've got some footage for you, and you're not going to like this one bit, okay? From here, the camera cuts to Eva Marie's locker room door, okay? We're told that after the break, we will get the bikini contest between Eva Marie and Mandy Rose, so stay tuned. After the break, our WWE champion Bobby Lashley is seen in the locker room backstage. MVP grabs the camera, okay, he cuts a promo on Brock Lesnar. MVP cuts a scathing promo on Brock Lesnar, dissing him, running him down, running him through the mud, slandering Brock Lesnar, saying that this match should have happened years ago, and the only reason it hasn't is because Brock Lesnar's a phony. Brock Lesnar's afraid of the almighty Lashley. From here, we get this MVP promo, camera cuts to the parking lot, Brock Lesnar pulls up in the parking lot, and he is irate. Brock Lesnar, he pulls up, he smashes a door, he's throwing security guards, breaking things. Brock Lesnar's causing chaos in the car park. It's an absolute scene right here. Then we cut back to the ring, and we go to our next match, okay? Elias, he makes light work of some hometown jobber. Okay, as soon as Elias' match is over against this hometown loser, Elias, he's cutting a promo. But then we get WWE ring crew and production people walking down to ringside. They're acting as if Elias isn't even in the ring. They're showing no respect for Elias. Elias is cutting a promo. We've got ring crew coming out there. We've got people adjusting and adding carpet to the ring mat. Elias is pissed, okay? Elias is saying that the disrespect for both him and the US title needs to end. Elias is disgusted that half-naked women are getting more spotlight than him as the US champion. Okay, Elias storms over to Tom Phillips at ringside, punches him, and leaves. Okay, from here we get the bikini contest. Both Eva Marie and Mandy Rose are given their full entrances, and then we go to commercial. Upon return from the break, Eva Marie and Mandy Rose are standing in the ring, both wearing towels. Mandy Rose is about to show the world what she's wearing, or not wearing, and then we get sirens going off, okay? Sirens are standing through the arena. What's going on? It's the PC Brigade. Sami Zayn and Mustafa Ali come rushing out to the ring. They're cutting this impassioned promo about female empowerment. Sami Zayn has a sign saying female lives matter. Ali is rage tweeting about misogyny, sexism. These tweets are being displayed on the Titantron. The crowd's heavily booing this. The crowd wants to see what Mandy and Eva are wearing, but the PC Brigade have stopped it. They're getting immense heel hate from this. Then, after a couple of minutes of the PC Brigade hijacking the show, we get the New Day's music hitting. Okay, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston come out saying, "Who the hell are you two to police what women can and can't do? Why are you so pro-female empowerment, but then so against it when it doesn't fit your agenda?" Okay, they say this, then we cut to commercial. After the break, we get a 6 to 8 minute tag match between the New Day and the PC Brigade. The match ends with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin of the Hurt Business rushing down, costing the PC Brigade the match, and then leaving. So, that's what we get there. That's the whole segment, that's the whole bikini contest thing, the PC Brigade, all that good stuff. Then, the camera cuts to John Cena walking through the backstage area, ready to cut his shoot on Drew McIntyre. The second hour of Raw begins with John Cena's music hitting. Cena comes down to the ring, crowd's going crazy, but before he can say a word, Drew McIntyre's music hits and McIntyre makes his entrance. Drew says, if you're gonna say something, say it to my face. Then Cena proceeds to cut a 7-minute shoot promo straight to the face of Drew McIntyre. Cena says that in the 2 decades he's been in WWE, he's seen many B-rate versions of himself come and go. Hell, one of these B-rate versions of Cena failed so badly that they had to run away to SmackDown and dress up as a tribal chief. Okay, Cena said that he respects Drew for carrying Raw through a global pandemic while he wasn't there, but at the end of the day, Cena is wrestling's last true mainstream star, and if there was an audience in attendance in 2020, Cena would have been there doing Drew's job better than he ever could. Okay, Cena roasts Drew for his time in 3MB, Cena roasts him for managing to get released from WWE. Cena, he's just ruthless. This is just cold-hearted, savage Cena. Okay, meanwhile, this whole time, Drew McIntyre is just looking at him in the eyes and taking it. Okay, this segment ends with Cena having a mic drop moment. Okay, Cena has this big mic drop line. Then Drew snaps back. "You're a shell of your former self, John." Oh, sorry. "You're a shell of your former self, John." I'm okay with the Scottish accent, whatever. Anyway, Drew then Claymore kicks John Cena and storms off as we go to commercial. After the break, we go back to Jinder Mahal's locker room. Okay, the tape that Corey Graves had is shown to Jinder. The tape contains Jackson Riker saying some racist, insensitive stuff about India. Jinder Mahal sees this and he is irate. Jinder is seething. Okay, we have a camera follow Jinder Mahal as he storms through the backstage area. Okay, Jinder Mahal finds Jackson Riker's locker room, and then Jinder Mahal beats Jackson Riker unconscious. Jinder Mahal makes an almighty mess of Jackson Riker, okay? Adam Pearce and referees, they're all getting involved, they're freaking out. This whole segment gets like 7 to 8 minutes worth of the show. This thing, it's a circus backstage. Jinder Mahal beating up a racially insensitive Jackson Riker. It's just an intense segment. So, next up, we get a match between AJ Styles and Montez Ford. Styles comes out and cuts a promo saying that Montez Ford is wasting his time with Angelo Dawkins. Ford deserves better than this. This leads to a match between the two. The match runs through a commercial break and is a good match. Okay, this match culminates with Montez Ford beating AJ Styles clean. This is sold as a huge moment in the career of Montez Ford and one that can be used as a launching point for him in years to come. Okay, from here, after Montez Ford's big win, we go to commercial with Damian Priest walking past Elias in the backstage area, and Elias is seen looking back, being visibly jealous of Damian Priest. After the break, we see Brock Lesnar in his locker room and Lashley in his locker room. They're just about to get ready for their weigh-in, but first we get our main event match as Drew McIntyre takes on Damian Priest. Both guys get their entrances, they come out, the match goes for a few minutes, however in the end, it's Elias hitting Damian Priest with a chair when the ref wasn't looking that costs Damian Priest the match. Drew McIntyre Claymore kicks Priest, 1, 2, 3. So Drew McIntyre gets a big win over Damian Priest on Raw. So that's that, and finally it's time for our weigh-in segment. Okay, the weigh-in and face-off between Brock Lesnar and the WWE Champion Bobby Lashley. This is hyped up as though it's like a UFC main event, a larger-than-life MMA legit fight weigh-in. This is hyped up as being super legit, super just big time. Both guys make their entrances. Lesnar's big fight feel entrance. Lashley comes out. We go to commercial. After the break, we get both guys stepping on the scales and weighing in. There's paparazzi all in the ring. There's like a decked out ring set up for this weigh-in. This whole time during the weigh-in, MVP is trash talking Brock Lesnar. Okay, MVP is just badgering Brock. Eventually, Lesnar snaps. Okay, Brock Lesnar dives at MVP. Okay, Lesnar clubs MVP with shoot elbow strikes. MVP starts bleeding. Then Lashley jumps in, starts beating the crap out of Brock. Brock jumps on Lashley. We've got like 45 to 60 different wrestlers and security guards, and it's a giant pull-apart brawl. It's one of these clips, one of these viral moments, Lesnar and Lashley's brawl. It's getting 100+ million views on YouTube. One of the biggest talking points in wrestling all of 2021. This thing is huge. So, that was Monday Night Raw. Now, let's move over to Friday Night SmackDown. So, on SmackDown, Jeff Hardy's music hits to open the show. Jeff Hardy comes out and has a match against the hometown jobber. Jeff defeats this random bum really quickly. He then grabs a microphone and says that for all the pain and hardship he's endured, and unfortunately put others through, it will all be worth it come SummerSlam when he overcomes the Tribal Chief and becomes World Champion one last time. From here, Roman Reigns' music hits. Reigns comes out, flanked by Mr. Money in the Bank, Jey Uso. Okay, Reigns says that Jeff can step to most and get away with it, but he can't step to the Tribal Chief on the Tribal Chief's show. Reigns and Jey Uso get into the ring and begin decimating Jeff Hardy. They're beating him up, they're smashing away on him, steel chair shots, bludgeoning Jeff Hardy, destroying him. Then Jimmy Uso rushes down. Jimmy Uso proceeds to, beat up like Jeff, and then the segment ends with Jimmy cutting a promo on Jey Uso, okay? Jimmy Uso, he backs up Jeff Hardy. I said beat up for a moment there, no. Jimmy Uso backs up Jeff Hardy, Jimmy and Jeff stand tall in the ring. Meanwhile, Jay and Roman are on the stage. They've pulled away. They've gotten out of there. Then we get a promo from Jimmy Uso calling out Jay, saying that at SummerSlam he'll pay for his sins. So that's our opening to SmackDown. Then, after a commercial, we go backstage and we get Sasha Banks interviewed. Sasha says that tonight she gets personal redemption on Bianca Belair when she beats her one-on-one. From here, we go to a vignette for Aleister Black. After this vignette for Aleister Black, Black makes his entrance and we get a quick squash match between Black and some jobber. Afterwards, Black calls out Shinsuke Nakamura. The promo can be about whatever. Aleister Black, just a cryptic promo. If you want to make up a cryptic promo in your mind for this, feel free. So yeah, Black cuts a promo about Shinsuke Nakamura. Wrestling Twitter is just losing it at this point. Wrestling Twitter, they're rushing to get changes of underwear. They're freaking out about Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura. Life's all good for the IWC. So that's what we get there. Then we get a backstage segment with Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, she's still playing the 12-year-old gimmick, whatever. Then Alexa Bliss, during this promo, is saying that she wants to get Bayley to transform and become the hugger again. Okay, Alexa Bliss is badgering and pleading Bayley to see the happy side and embrace her inner child once again. Bayley attacks Bliss from behind, and that's the end of the segment. So basically, Alexa Bliss tries to get Bayley to become the hugger again, tries to change Bayley, and Bayley's not having any of it. So that's that segment there. Then, after a commercial, we get Murphy versus Big E in a #1 contendership match for the Intercontinental Championship, okay? After Murphy overcomes Big E in a great match, we get Murphy cutting a scathing promo on the Nigerian Lord Apollo Crews and Commander of Z's. Okay, Murphy says that Apollo Crews' reign of terror has gone on far too long, and he's going to have a great match to beat him. He's going to go to work, and he's going to show why he's the best kept secret on SmackDown, and Murphy cuts this great promo. This leads to Commander of Z's and Apollo Crews beating up Murphy from behind. So that's the first hour of SmackDown. Second hour of SmackDown opens with Edge making his entrance, okay? Edge cuts a passionate promo all about Seth Rollins. Edge is going on and on about survival. Edge survived when Seth Rollins threatened to kill him on the final Raw of 2014. Rollins makes his entrance and he addresses Edge. They do a face-to-face. They're getting heated. Edge, he's incensed with Seth Rollins. Rollins isn't taking Edge at all seriously. Rollins is smiling. He's grinning. The segment ends with Seth Rollins spitting in Edge's face and storming off. Edge is absolutely irate. Edge is about to just lose it. The SummerSlam build is amping up between Edge and Rollins. So that's that. After this, we get our WrestleMania rematch between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. This is a great match that gets about 15 minutes. Okay, finally, after this great match, we get Sasha Banks making Bianca Belair pass out to the Banks statement. So it's a non-title match. Sasha Banks makes Bianca Belair, pass out. Sasha Banks is standing tall. Then, as she's having her arm raised, a vignette airs on the Titantron for one Becky Lynch. Okay, Sasha Banks is shown looking shocked as we go to commercial. Then we get the SmackDown main event, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Jeff Hardy and Jimmy Uso. Okay, this tag team match goes for around 12 to 15 minutes. Roman Reigns hardly involves himself much with the match, okay? This time, for most of the match, we get Jey Uso taking punishment from Jeff Hardy and Jimmy Uso. In the end, Roman Reigns, he has enough of watching Jey Uso get beaten up. He tags himself in, delivers a huge spear to Jeff Hardy through the barricade at ringside. Reigns buries Jeff Hardy in debris, like he buries him in chairs, the announce table, etc. Then Roman Reigns gets in the ring, hits 3 consecutive spears on Jimmy Uso, tags back in Jey Uso. Jey Uso pins Jimmy Uso in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. The show ends with Roman Reigns standing tall, holding the Universal title, looking like an absolute beast. Paul Heyman's there clapping. Jimmy Uso is just laid out dead. Jeff Hardy's dead at ringside. And that is Friday Night SmackDown. And that is what would happen, what if Shane McMahon took over WWE. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Personally, I feel as though the Shane McMahon in charge, implementing these changes, Raw especially, would be absolutely must-see. SmackDown would remain pretty damn fun as well during the week. So, I just feel like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the wrestling world would be a lot better off if Shane McMahon took over WWE. And that's been the video. So hopefully you guys have had a great day. Hopefully you guys continue to have a great day. Thank you for watching. Hit the sub button if you haven't already. Like, comment, sub. You know the drill. See ya.